As you see, they've got a neck on the floor. He's got his hand on her neck.
He's straight out of Wales with the wind in his sails. He's tipping the scales, Silurian trails, revealing their names while he's lifting their veils. Public as sales, no one exhales. Won't read in the mail, it's not printed in braille. No bonus for sales, the light will prevail. He's telling the tale while he's hot on the trail. Whole nother scale, he's hammering the nail. He's trolling and rolling the camera and showing the standard that's double. Exposing the bubble, removing the muzzle. He's always got trouble, he's fighting the muscle and solving the puzzle. He's taking the fight and he's spreading the light and he's doing it right. Taking dark as the night and he's making it bright and providing insight while he's flooding your eyes like a hair in the headlight.
Step back, please, don't be arrested. Step back, press, don't even pick on me. Are you watching this? The press aren't allowed to film.
Injustice is served, collar crime is submerged. Don't be absurd, your vision is blurred. He's seen it occur, so right there on the curb. His iPhone record, he's filming the herd. BLM thugs act like cons high on drugs. They wrecking the place, they're smashing the face. He's in with the thick, in with hammers and sticks. Exposing the truth, he's showing the proof. He's trolling and rolling the camera and showing the standard that's double. Exposing the bubble, removing the muzzle. He's always got trouble, he's fighting the muscle and solving the puzzle. He's taking the fight and he's spreading the light and he's doing it right. Taking dark as the night and he's making it bright and providing insight while he's flooding your eyes like a hair in the headlight.
Just don't want to see it there. You just don't want to see the violence. You don't want to see the violence on some of those people. 3 people on the women.
Support for the vets, pray unless we forget the pain he besets and the truth he projects. He's a victim of threats, but he never regrets. Live stream the upsets, no printing gazettes. He's taken the test, got the pedo's address. No south, east or west, he streams the protest. No news is suppressed, the whole truth is expressed. To insanity test, he's facing arrest. He's trolling and rolling the camera and showing the standard that's double. Exposing the bubble, removing the muzzle. He's always got trouble, he's fighting the muscle and solving the puzzle. He's taking the fight and he's spreading the light and he's doing it right. Taking dark as the night and he's making it bright and providing insight while he's flooding your eyes like a hair in the headlight.
There's 4, 5 on one. There's 2 on a girl. They pinned her to the floor. This one's getting a bully boy tactics. That's from the TSG probably. Sergeant, yeah.
Good evening all. Welcome to Real News Live News, Wednesday 8 o'clock. Great weekend with the PCP girls in Aberafon Beach. On the promenade, doing a 24-hour skate-a-thon. Loads of problems as far as my lives are concerned down there. The signal was pretty bad. I managed to get a few lives out for them and stuff like that. I took loads of photos because that's basically all I could do on the Sunday morning. So yeah, well done to the girls. They raised about 1,500 quid, like, you know, for that 24-hour skate-a-thon, going to a good cause against the sex education in. Fighting our Welsh Assembly about sex education in our schools. So it's looking good for them. They are raising funds. They're on the move, definitely, with their funds. And it looks like there will be a court case coming up, well, hopefully shortly. We'll have to keep on watching and waiting to see what's going to happen with them. Yeah, I was a bit knackered, as usual. You could probably hear with my breath and everything, my breathing and that. So yeah, it was a good weekend, to be honest with you folks. Really enjoyed it. No idea what I'm going to be doing this week, but we'll see. Okay, well, I've got 3 guests on tonight. Only 2 in the green room at the moment, but I'm going to bring them on. They're from Children's Matter. A lot of you will know them, so I'm going to bring them both on at the same time. Sharon and Katie. Hello both. How are you?
Hi Phil, how are you doing? Been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a while. Do you mean you've been on here about 3 times? I don't think Katie's ever been on Real News and Live News, have you, Kate?
No, first time.
I think I've been on your show once or twice, and I think Akka was the other show that you came on to, if I remember right. Because we switched the interview around, didn't we? Well, you wanted to switch the interview around. If that's right, yeah? Can Katie hear me?
Hello. But
Can you hear me, Sharon?
yeah, I can hear you. You're fine.
Yeah, I've known Katie for I would think about 3 years. Probably about the same as you, Sharon, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah.
As
We
Kate,
first met when you were campaigning with ACCA.
yeah, corruption and abuse. That's right. But you probably did meet me. I'm not sure. Maybe with the Yellow Vests in London, because I'm sure I saw Katie once or twice in London.
Yeah, we jumped onto the Yellow Vests in the. I mean, I think it started in France in November, and I think it was kind of December, January we started donning the yellow vests and campaigning about all the other issues to do with our freedoms, really.
Yeah, all injustices. I can't remember if Katie went to Green Park or not. I can't remember. She might have camped out. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably I knew her from there as well. Like so, that must have been coming up to 3 years, really, with the veterans and all that. But best, I think we should start off with what, because you're part of a group called Children's Matter. That's right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does Children Matter actually do, and what does it stand for? Because I've been on a few demos with you lot over the years.
Well, we started off. I mean, I kind of was thrown into. I don't know where Katie's gone. I think we've lost her, haven't we, Katie Jane?
Yeah, she's back now.
Yeah, I brief overview of how Children Matter became was Katie and I both came from different backgrounds. Obviously, I got sacked because I got involved in talking about all the grooming stuff, which led to me going to some demos, led to me getting arrested, led to me meeting certain people, that led to me being involved with Justice for Women and Children campaigning against the rapes, child abuse. And I started doing a show on Right Unity, which is now Wake Up UK. And Katie was had experienced the forced adoption. More and more people were coming towards me on the street when I was demonstrating against the corrupt care system and the child abuse and grooming, about forced adoption. So started looking into that, and Katie's initial group was the parents of forced adoption. Excuse me. And the idea was to bring a lot of these. There was a lot of groups popping up everywhere. There was us, and so the idea was to all of those people campaigning for children's safety and rights were brought together, or the idea was to bring them together on one platform, Children Matter News. We became so, and we had quite a few different groups all feeding into Children Matter News. And as you know, people splinter off, and yourself, you've connected with lots of different groups, haven't you? And it's kind of, that's how we know each other, isn't it? Because it's like, oh, you're bring the groups together, kind of. We've all tried to do that at some stage, haven't we, through this, I think, 6 years now, coming up for.
Yeah, there is. I'm on a problem with sharing at the moment, folks. For some reason, it's not letting me share to my own blinking group. Like so, folks, if you could please start sharing, because I am having a problem. I'm gonna have to go on my other phone, but I've only got a certain amount of groups on there I can actually share to, folks. So if you can please share best as you can.
Yeah, I'm not actually on social media at the moment. I'm off of, and do you know what? I don't miss Facebook at all. Occasionally look at Telegram. Hi, yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Did you hear what I was saying, Katie? I don't know if you wanted to add to that.
To be fair, I was listening as well. I was just trying to get plug my phone in and get my phone on as well at the same time.
Yeah, so you went to Green Park as well, then, did you, Kate?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, did you go for the whole weekend? I can't remember.
Well, there was a bit of a hiccup with me being there, to be honest. Well, not me personally being there, but when I was there, someone was smoking near one of the tents, and one of the veterans came over, kicking off and threatening and being very verbally abusive. And I just turned around and said, well, I've come all the way down to show my support. If you don't want me to show my support, I'll fuck off. Because they got a lot of us down there on false pretenses as well. I mean, a lot of us would have gone there anyway, but we were told to bring our banners, bring our flags, you know, and unite together, stand together as one. And then when we got there, it was none of your stuff comes out. It's all about this cause, which it would have been completely fine in the first place, you know what I mean? But a lot of us dragged extra stuff down. Just, you know, we took a lot of stuff for a walk.
Yeah,
it was very disappointing, that, wasn't it? You know, it was that final. Well, it was that big push that, right, we'll all come together. We'll stand our ground until we make a difference. Oh, the Queen wants you off her lawns. Can you move on? Well, yeah, we've got to pack up and go now. We've made our point, have we?
Yeah, that was on Monday night. They told us we did have some sort of lord who came from our House of Lords over, and he did do a speech on the Monday night. Like, I do remember it well. I remember the first day when we got there, when we had our yellow vests on, and we were told to take them off. But what you got to remember, we were supporting the vets, and I would say half of them were civilians and half of them were veterans, because the veterans couldn't be bothered to turn up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit, you know, discerning, but, you know, at the end of the day, we were all there for a reason. I mean, we got to meet up with a lot of people. I mean, it was the first time I met the Blair twins was Green Park. So, I mean,
awesome.
Pardon?
Yeah, awesome lads.
It was the very first time I met them was at Green Park.
Yeah, awesome they were. Yeah, and regarding the smoking, half the veterans were smoking anyway, to be honest with you.
Well, that's why it was kind of a mick take, because the whole place, you could smell everything, and they just chose to come over to, well, that end. I wasn't involved in it. I was just sat there, you know, when they heard it kicking off, and I just thought, well, if this is what we've come down for, then we've wasted our money.
Yeah, I did manage to stay there from the Saturday. I think I came down on the Saturday morning, and I went home on the Tuesday morning. I stayed till I was near enough one of the last ones packing up my tent. So I didn't get. We didn't get what we wanted for the vets. We were promised. We were promised, but we certainly didn't get because Boris had promised that he would stop the prosecutions of soldiers to A to Z. And everybody, well, a lot of the veterans, I would say, believed him. Because if Boris had got in, well, he did get in on the next election, and that was one of his promises. If the veterans vote for me, which is 4.5 million veterans, and that is the only reason why Boris actually got into Parliament, was because
I mean,
of that promise.
I've said from the start, and Green Park was one of the first places where I actually started talking to people about it properly. But we can't go after things one by one. At the end of the day, we all need to be united together. We all need to stand together, because at the end of the day, like we've all come from different angles. I'm a mum of forced adoption and parental alienation. You know, you two are both justice fighters in other causes as well. And we come across, you know, veterans and everyone else who are all stuck in the same rut, fighting our individual causes, when we should really be kind of pulling that resource together. You know, more voices are better than one.
Yeah, a bit like Nottingham.
Yeah, 100% like Nottingham. Nottingham was a perfect example.
Yeah, we're veterans and fighting injustices regarding our children were concerned. It was a massive event, and it was the biggest event that I've seen for the children and for the veterans, to be honest with you. And it was the first time. And it was the first time that we broke through a kettle.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because of football lads.
Well, yeah, because you had everyone stood there together, you know what I mean? And it was a shared platform. I mean, yeah. I think that veterans children's demo, like joint one, I think that was the first time that people actually, you know, took it seriously that I'm a pads brat, I'm kind of a bridge between both. And that there are quite a few of us out there that are a bridge between both. It's just about tapping into that, helping each other where we can and linking into it. Because at the end of the day, this is above us. like far above us. It's not about me. It's not about anyone on here. It's not about anyone watching this. You know what I mean? It's about the next generation, making sure that they get a chance and that they're not put through what we've been put through. And that comes under every cause, including the veterans' causes. No veteran wants any other veteran to go through what they're going through. So that's why they're fighting their causes. And as soon as like everyone kind of sees that and links into that, I think things have been miles better.
Yeah, definitely. So why? Because you've got a group called Children's Matter. So could you tell the viewers why you started up that?
And that was well before Black Lives Matter was all over the press as well, by I might add, because if people want to think that they was jumped on the back of that, it was well before then. So it's just unfortunate that Black Lives Matter had the same sort. Do you know what I'm saying? Just to get in there.
Yeah, or all lives matter.
100%. Well, that's why it's called Children Matter, because at the end of the day, everyone is someone's child, and we have all been children once. So it's basically my way of saying everyone matters. You know what I mean? Because everyone can't get to where they are without being a child first. So, you know. But yeah, sorry. So basically, I started Children Matter about 5 years ago, roughly, because my family was targeted by the system. So they first went after my son. I got my son back. And then they used my son's father to get my son again, to get my daughter that I was then pregnant with. So I'm kind of a forced adoption mum and a parental alienation mum. So my son's been put with his dad, who is my abuser. And it's come out that I am actually the first of 4 women to have reported it to the police, as well as a lot more. So that they could get my daughter, because they had no grounds for my daughter. So they piggybacked her onto the end of the last case. At some point, trust me, I will go into detail about what's come out in this last year while I've been away. But I have to obviously bide my time and play smart about it.
Yeah, because the case is still ongoing, mind, isn't
it? It's being finalised, but obviously at the moment things can still get halted if I play the wrong card. So I have to be careful at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And I can remember Sharon. I brought Sharon on the show quite a few months ago now. Could you tell the viewers about your arrest? I haven't got the video. I haven't got the video this time. I probably got it up somewhere on my computer, but to find it, I don't know.
No. Yeah, that was. It's strange because it's the time frame now. It's like it'll be 4 years this year, in May. So it's last year. It's coming up for May when I won my case against Greater Manchester Police for false arrest and assault and whatever else. And that's interesting because obviously they didn't know the law when they arrested me, and it was proven in court. But they're so arrogant that the judge had to tell them to stop laughing in the court. Well, one of them was explaining the assault in the back of the van. The judge had to address the whatever ranks they are, because they got promoted even after losing the case. And it's funny because the journalist that contacted me after I'd won my case, he specialises in going after the police. And he was saying that I must have been a person of interest in order for them to lift me off the street that day in Manchester. All I can think that would be is the fact that I got the demos that I'd went to prior to that. I was talking to some quite notorious, I would say, I guess, like the likes of Peter Sweden, and he was actually the one that got Red Pill Phil to the demo in Sunderland, because he'd filmed him in Manchester. And it's, when you look back on it now, it's mad how it all happens. It's like you couldn't even write it, you know, the connections that we make. And when they say you bring things into your reality by focusing on them, I could certainly vouch for that over the last 6 years, because even recently I haven't been online for best part of, well, the last few months, really. I've been working on my own little project, but it just got a little bit too much with certain things happening in my own town that were too close to the bone with things that I'd been focusing on. And I think that it was a child's life was taken, and I think it was linked to the family court. So it does get a little bit too. You can have to then. We've now. I think both Katie Jane and I are refocusing on what can we do in a productive, positive, direct action sort of way to benefit families, children, and so we're working on our own projects on how we take it forward. We've spent time doing the research. We've spent time alerting people to the problems. There's been so much distraction thrown our way over the last few years with all this COVID and all this war. I mean, my 3-year-old granddaughter was making a Ukraine flag in nursery. She goes there for 3 hours in the morning and she was painting a Ukraine flag, and it was on the TV in the nursery, and it was because children were losing their homes. And then what 3-year-olds I used teaching parenting, I'm sorry, but you would tell parents not to alert children of that age of things going on around the world that weren't very nice. You wouldn't be teaching them it in nursery. And so we have a task ahead of us, and I think Children Matter is evolving now into, I'm sorry, I know you asked me to talk about my arrest, but
it's all right. Fine.
We were all very giddy about the plans that we've got coming up, in fairness.
I think with the time on the street has proven to us that they want to destroy the reputation of the police, and they're doing that quite well because the police are going against the public. The public are realising that they don't work for us. We don't actually pay their wages, as people believe, because the money that's stolen from us pays their wages. We have nothing to do with that. We wouldn't even pay it in our council tax if we got the option. But, you know, it's that sort of situation, isn't it, now, the society that we're in. So all we can do, and the girls in Wales with their campaigning for the schools as well, because that's dire with the sex education. And if parents aren't looking into that and complaining, they've got something wrong with them. They've been brainwashed to the point of no return, I think. But we need to focus on what we can do to fix things now. I think we've gone through the shit. We need to see the roses start to grow out of it and bloom. And I think we've learned a lot, all of us, and we've made some really fantastic connections. And I think, you know, you, Phil, you're out on the street letting people know what's going on, and we've all done a bit of that. And I kind of feel like I've gone full circle with back to the parenting sort of thing, and the police. But that's interesting because people have come forward to me, and there's a group on Twitter as well about how corrupt the police are. One girl, she was arrested and raped and drugged, she claims, and she has pretty much the evidence to prove it, because when she finally got the video footage, there was 3 hours missing. So, and it's been tampered with. So I think that's evidence enough. The delay in giving her that evidence when they've given everything else as well shows guilt. Whether they'll ever get prosecuted or called to justice, who knows? But the police are corrupt right through the core, because they're controlled by the corrupt. Common Purpose, as we have to thank for that, because they've put these degenerates in positions of power because they're easy to control, and they're easy to control them people under them, because as long as they're getting their wages paid, they'll just do as they're told, and they're useful idiots as far as I'm concerned. And so I stay out of society as much as possible these days. I spend more time in my shed and walking the dogs and round the corner at my grandchildren's house. So yeah, it's I'll let somebody else speak now. It's been a while.
Well, to be honest here, I didn't expect, if Victoria jumped on as well, I don't know where she is, if Victoria jumped on as well from Family Superheroes, I don't think I'd be able to get a word in edgeways all night. So I'm just thankful I can get a little bit of a word in with a pair of you two, to be honest with you.
Hey, we're not that bad.
No, you're not that bad. You wait till you see my poster when I put it up after this show. I've got a perfect poster. and I'll put it on both my profiles.
Yeah.
You do, like, your posters that you put up, they do amuse me, in fairness.
Yeah, well, it's a way of getting people to laugh, and because some of them are funny, some of them are serious, obviously, do you mean? But sometimes I like putting the funny ones up. You do get a bit of a reaction, but because as I've got the two profiles, well, I've got five, but I'm not, but I'm only using two. Okay, uh, the Philip Watkins one, that one will be going, folks. That will be going. I will be putting that. I'll be deactivating that one because there's too many restrictions on it. Because for a show like this, I should be able to share it out and do what I want to different groups and stuff. But I've got the restrictions. I can't do it. For instance, if I put a poster up, you'd be lucky if it gets 20 likes or a couple of shares. It's not
Yeah,
getting the message. It's not getting the message across.
yeah, we found the exact same thing with our channel as well, in fairness.
Because I'm in lower feeds. I mean, they're watching me all the time. If I put one post up, and the thing is, I've got 5,000 friends on this account, and I've got 3,500 followers. And if I put a post up on here, I'll be lucky if I get 10 to 20 likes at the most. At the most. Now, my other profile, Nimrod Watt, that's the one with the pint of cider. It's only got 800 people on it, or maybe 900. And I'm hitting like 100, 150 likes on most of my posts, like, do me, just memes. So it just goes to show how much of a shadow ban they do with you. You're sharing. I can only share 2 posts a day on Philip Watkins.
Yeah, that sucks.
What good is that when I manage? I'm admin on 6 sites and 2 pages. I can't do it. It's impossible. So yeah, Facebook isn't very good. So that's why I will be switching. This profile will be getting shut down on Friday, and I'll be going full time over to Nimrod Watt. And if anybody hasn't put a like or commented on my Philip Watkins post, I'll be leaving them behind them. I'm sorry. They'll come across me sometime, but that's the way it has to be. Because
Gotta do
otherwise,
what you gotta do.
I can't spread
When card, I'm just reading the message at the bottom. When's card? Because I'm not on social media anymore. I'm really behind, but like I'm losing track of what's going on. And
well, Cardiff is on April 30th. Basically, Sandy from up in Scotland. I went up there twice last year, and I've been up there once this year, and gone up there to support them. And basically, the Scottish, the Irish, and the English are all come together, and the Welsh. And this time, it's going to be in Cardiff on the 30th. It's going to be outside the Senedd. It's looking like a big event because people are bringing down camper vans and stuff like that, and tents, and actually staying for the weekend. They're coming down on the Friday from Scotland, England, and Wales. You've got the Blairs coming down. You've got some really good speakers. PCP Wales will be there as well. So I think Victoria might turn up. There's a few good speakers who are going to be there. So it's going to be a really good event, I think, especially regarding what's happening in Wales, as we're the only country who are actually taking our government to court regarding sex ed. Now, if we can win that case or highlight it, it opens the gates to the other 51 countries who have now got sex ed. Because Wales is slightly different to England or Scotland or Ireland, is because we've lost our opt-out. We can't take our kids out of school for sex education. England can, so can Scotland, and so can Ireland. But it's going to be changing, because when they change that legislation and your governments decide, right, we're going to take that opt-out off you, you've lost your parent rights, then it's going to start to affect England, Scotland, and Ireland. But it's going to affect us come September. Wales are going to be the first one that they're going to full hog on. And you probably do know most of the sex education which is going to be taught, because Scotland's actually teaching it now. Scotland are actually teaching it now. and it's
And my daughter got word from her school what was going to be on the curriculum and stuff.
Yeah, it's sickening, sickening, absolutely sickening. Yeah, so let's go back on to Children's Matter. So, or you, Katie, regarding what happened to you, if you don't mind.
Which one?
Both of them.
Which one first then?
Pardon? You, Katie. Yeah, go on.
I'll go on then. Right. Yeah, so I lost my kids a couple of years ago, basically. Tried using the fact that I was in care, tried using the fact that I was a pads brat and that I'd moved around, so didn't have any stability growing up myself when I did. A lot of us pads brat have perfect stability, even though we do move around, something that you get used to. Yeah, they basically lied and manipulated the whole way through court. I'm trying to be very careful of what I say, because obviously a lot of stuff's actually come to light, which makes a lot more sense of everything and fills in a lot of the puzzle. Also goes to show as well how fucking corrupt everything is. I've got to be very, very careful. Obviously my story's out everywhere anyway. A lot of our videos are going to be going back to being public very soon, because a lot of them are on private. They've had to be on private for a lot of the year, so I do apologise for that. But yeah, I mean,
it's a hard one, really, isn't it? Because you should have freedom of speech, but we all know what the family courts are like, and we also know what ex-partners are like, and we also know they watch what you do and use any reason to make you look bad, especially if you're actually fighting the cause. But with you, Katie, you're not just fighting the cause. You're not just fighting for your own kids, but you're actually fighting for everybody else's kids, and that's why a lot of people do respect you.
When I first started, I genuinely thought I was 1 in a million. Like this was just a random hiccup, a blip in the system. That it doesn't happen to everyone. I was one of the people that thought that social services only get involved if there's a reason to get involved. Up until it happened to me. And obviously when it happened to me and everything, I bear in mind I've no criminal record, I've no history with drug or alcohol abuse or anything like that. I've got a squeaky clean record. The only thing I didn't do is finish high school. And that was mostly due to, parents splitting up and being no longer entitled to go to the military school anymore. But it's another story. But I ended up doing research and I ended up coming across the term forced adoption. And I ended up meeting more and more people who were pretty much in a very similar position to me, if not the exact same position as me. Some of them had actually turned to social services for help. I mean, I turned to them for advice, probably how they got my name in the first place and my record in the first place. It is unique in a sense, as I'm the third person to live in this house who's had social involvement. So this house is tagged, more than likely, which is probably why they've stopped me from moving out of it for several fucking years. But obviously I come across other people and I started hearing other people's stories, and I met people who had been through it earlier than me. I had people
Katie, can I just say, if people think it's crazy when you mention about the postcode, I've had parents coming to me and there's like a postcode lottery of there's certain estates where it seems there's an awful lot of kids being taken into care on those postcodes. So if anybody was thinking that you're paranoid, it's an actual fact that does happen.
I actually met the last 3 people to live in this house through the campaigning, and every single one of them had involvement, and they all lived in this exact same house. Not next door, not somewhere else on the estate, in this exact house. And that's too much of a coincidence for me.
I don't believe in coincidence.
Well, Sharon was actually the very first person to actually interview me as well about what happened. Yeah. And like, just to jump a bit, like Sharon was saying about meeting Phil at the after the Manchester bombing and going down to the campaign afterwards. I was actually in court for my appeal on that exact same day as well. So we were actually all in the exact same location, just different locations.
And that's happened with loads, like Keith, how close me and Keith are. We'd been at loads of demos at the same time. and didn't know each other until after I got arrested. And then I went to the following, like even the demo 2 weeks after the arrest, where I met a lot of the football lads because of the arrest. And then because of that, going to London with those guys, meeting Keith and the Northern lot at the pub where everybody, the football lads, used to meet. So it's that all those connections that we've made have all led to prominent change, I think, in a lot of cases, because things do change when we stand up, even if it's just subtle. It does make a difference. As much as people think it might not, it does. But I think there's a time and a place for it, and I think you've got to change tack to keep a step ahead of them and to get the message out there, like Facebook, like you're saying, Phil, about getting you know, shadow banned and stuff. You got to find other platforms, haven't you? So, but sorry, Katie, go on.
That's all right.
Yeah, you're right about different protests and stuff and meeting different people. I've made some very, very good friends along the way, like, you know, in all sorts of groups, all types of groups. If it's veterans, COVID marches, I've met quite a few people as well. But and the children demos and stuff like that, and some other demos like illegal immigration. Not everybody agrees with it. Some people do, but that's me. I cover all injustices, and I find that sort of thing is an injustice to the British people. So that's my view on it. So should we talk about social services, shall we? The corporation, because it is a corporation, isn't it?
Yes, it's actually a privately run company.
Yeah,
it's a private business.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a fact, because I know a woman that contacted the head of the council in Sunderland to ask why their child protection services were stealing children. She'd put it bluntly to him. Barbara, we love Barbara, and so she was told that actually children's services isn't part of the council. It's an agency that they have bought in, obviously. However,
it's all over the internet. You can just Google it. It's a privately.
Yeah, it's all on LinkedIn and all of that. They just keep changing the company names. But this children's services, it's like they don't have to then take responsibility for it, do they? I mean, they're taking children for the council, but actually most of these care homes are private as well. Because it was social workers that set up the private foster care companies a lot of the time, selling them on children or units on the stock market.
It's a smart way of doing it, because you get funded by the government, but you're a privately run company. So if you make any extra, it's yours in your pocket. So no matter what, you're getting paid.
Yeah, there's a few MPs. There's a few MPs who own some of these companies as well, mind.
Yeah, social services have got investments into a lot of them as well.
Yeah, it just goes to show how much of a profit money making system there is. I personally, I wouldn't say all of it is social services are bad, but what I would say is some of it is, and some of it is child trafficking.
There's branches of social services. So you've got social services who handle neglected kids, you've got social services who handle child in need, and social services who handle child protection. Now, those branches are kept separately from each other. So you can come across social workers who genuinely are not being given enough funding to actually help kids and having no choice but to turn them away because they can't help them. That includes getting them out of domestic situations as well. And then you get social services who their job is to go and basically meet the family. Manager then decides if they're going to take the kids. If they're not going to take the kids, what actions then going to be taken. And then you've got the other services who are in it for the money. For example, my son's first social worker, Jane Thomas Aber. For a prime example, the second time she took him, she got promoted to team leader. So she became manager of the program.
Too. Yes.
And she constantly was seen having dinner dates with my daughter and son's new social worker. blatantly out in the open.
My grandson, who is 9, my daughter was saying that she was getting a lot of calls from 0800 numbers, and he says, "Oh, we got told an 0800 number at school." They've been talking to them at school about Childline and encouraging them to phone if there's anything with the kids. And my daughter said, we used to phone them for a laugh, you know what I mean, as kids. But they're talking to primary schools. They not only got my 3-year-old granddaughter, who turned 4 yesterday, actually. She's painting. It's a good job the Ukraine flag's such an easy flag to paint. That's convenient. But and they're also telling my grandson to phone Childline if you know.
Can I just give an example to everyone watching about how easily children like understand help when it comes to calling emergency numbers? Because I've just found the perfect audio here, which perfectly shows why you shouldn't teach such young children that help is what you call 911 for, or 999, or whatever. You know what I mean? You call them an emergency, not for help. Am I right to play it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Whatever. You know what I mean? You call them an emergency, not for help. Oh, I'm going. Something else is playing. Let's play at the same time. I just want to play.
I have to do it. Will you help me? Yeah, I need some help.
What's the matter?
With my mouth.
Was your mouth?
No, with my mouth. I have to do it. Will you help me?
Sure. Where do you live?
No, it's my mouth.
Yeah, I know it. Where do you live, though?
No, I want you to talk to me on the phone.
No, I can't do that. I can phone someone else to help you.
Okay,
What kind of math do you have that you need help with?
I have takeaways.
Oh, you got to do the takeaways?
Yeah.
All right, what's the problem?
You have to help me with my mouth.
Okay. Tell me what the math is.
Okay, 16,
Yeah.
take away 8.
Uh-huh.
Guess what?
You tell me, how much do you think it is?
I won't play it all the way through, but you probably get my point. Kids needing help with math, they understand need help, call helpline. Like that's how easy kids interpret things.
And if they have a fallout with the parent, they phone Childline because they've been told at school to phone them.
Interpret. Sorry, I forgot to turn the volume back off.
Yeah, that's absolutely bonkers. Like, it's meant to be a helpline for a child who's, really in trouble, like, and not jumping on asking him for maths problems, because it's wasting their time as well.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it's cute as anything, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I find it cute. It's adorable, and the officer handled that extremely well as well. For it's cute. But if you tell a kid if you need help to phone 999, if they need help in any scenario, like this 4-year-old needed help with his maths, they're gonna phone someone to help them. If you're teaching this an emergency, you need policeman there, then call 911. Then. But kids misinterpret stuff so easily. So phoning them and telling them, telling them to use a helpline if they need help. I mean, do you know how many times I would have called that every time I didn't get what I wanted from my mum, or I got told off, or grounded, or my dad made food that I didn't like and I had to eat it? Like,
sorry if it's noisy in my shed, but it's actually hailstoning outside.
You're lucky it's not snowing.
Well, I got caught in the snow earlier when I was out with the dogs, but it's really hitting the window of the shed loud if you can hear it. Sorry.
Yeah, that reminds me, I put a post up earlier. These snowflakes are okay, like, because they melt, but the other ones don't.
They do. They melt down.
They have a meltdown. They'd be having a meltdown when Jibby Jab works on them, won't they?
Well, we shouldn't really mention that, but there you go. That's probably the reason why I'm shadow banned. That's probably why I lost one YouTube channel already, all down to in the arm. You know.
It's like Voldemort that now, isn't it? You're not allowed to talk about it.
Well, this is why I won't be talking it. I'll be quite sensible on my new profile because that's what seems to be getting you taken down. Like I lost my YouTube channel because I filmed Piers Corbyn twice, and I had 2 strikes for it, and I was already on a strike. So say goodbye to your YouTube channel, isn't it?
I think I read somewhere that Nick Clegg is set to get £15 million a year from Facebook. Because he's the UK head of Facebook, isn't he, Nick Clegg? I mean,
yeah, it's all corrupt. It's all totally corrupt. I'm not going to. I've got to say my mind, and I speak. And freedom of speech is gone in this country. You can't say what you want to say, even though it might be your opinion. You're not allowed to say it. You've got to watch what you say. Like, but
that's one thing. That's one thing that we're all really, really familiar with over on Children Matter. I mean, that's why we've got new plans moving forward.
Yeah, I did see you live on. Well, I saw a recording of you this week with Anne-Marie Walters. That was quite interesting. That was, so I did watch it because it ended up on Wake Up UK. I saw it on Wake Up UK. I think yesterday.
Who?
You pair and Anne-Marie Walters.
That was ages
that was
ago.
Quite a while ago, that wasn't it?
That was ages ago.
I only saw it yesterday. It
popped
up on my phone, and I watched it on my phone. It was on.
That was over a year ago.
It was on
definitely over a year ago.
Well, it ended up on Wake Up UK, and I was messaging and everything on it.
You might have been replaying some of our old stuff.
Yeah, I think they might be.
Yeah, they must have done, because I mean, I've had contact with Anne-Marie over, because I gave her the I did a report for about forced adoption, and I gave it to her. So we've kind of, she's been really busy, to be fair. Actually, For Britain have got a demo going on St. George's Day up in Newcastle.
Yeah.
And talking about free speech, UKIP were having a branch meeting in Newcastle on Saturday, and there was a bit of a thing about it, because I was on the bill to speak, but I wasn't actually asked personally. I was asked via a mutual friend, and so I was a little bit like, well, they didn't even send me the email. I got sent the email off Keith showing me the picture they'd put on of me that I was speaking, and I was still waiting to get formally asked, basically. But anyway, I was debating about whether to speak, and then it went out on Twitter, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I will, because of the Ukraine flag business in Skill kind of spurred me on. But as I say, I've been keeping a low profile lately, keeping out of that energies. Anyway, it got cancelled because Stand Up to Racism have complained to the hotel in Newcastle, I think it was County Hotel or something, so they've cancelled the venue. They've banned Richard, who booked it for UK, from ever booking anything, even on a personal level, at the hotel. So they were basing it on free speech, and they've been thrown out of the venue. So yeah, that's not going ahead anyway on Saturday because of that reason. But yeah, it was just a little bit ironic, really.
Yeah, Voice of Wales got they do this. They started doing it once every, I think it's 6 weeks or 2 months. They do like the opposite to Question Time. It's called Answer Time, and they get a load of ex-politicians or politicians, people to take part in the show, and they ask them questions like, and obviously Stand Up to Racism decided, right, we're not having this. And they found out their venue, and they had to have it cancelled and change the venue, but they had to really, really keep it quiet until about 2-3 hours before the show was taking place, like, because Stand Up to Racism isn't it's not about free speech. It's about shutting you down. You're not allowed.
And actually, Anne-Marie, the first time I met Anne-Marie was in Hartlepool. She had a meeting going on, and so she was sat. She agreed to meet up with me to talk to me about me being suspended from what I was still just. Was I suspended? I think I was suspended at that time. I don't know if I'd been sacked already, but she agreed to meet up with me in Hartlepool and have me a chat with me about it. And then she had a meeting booked, and they cancelled the venue at the very last minute. So she was madly trying to find somewhere else to hold the meeting because they found out it was them, and somebody complained, so they cancelled it. So it's been going on, it's a long time, and this is what and a lot of the time the council have a lot to do with it. It's same with the demos. The police agree, and then at the last minute the council go, no, we're not having that. The police go, oh, by the way, you can't do that now because the council have said no. So it's all down to the council, really. It's all them pulling strings. And the reason they've got the people in the powerful positions in those places, police, social services, whatever, is because the dubious characters are easily controlled, common purpose trained.
Yeah.
Fighting a losing battle, you just got to go in your own bubble and spread the love. That's what I think.
Yeah. So where do you think Children's Matter is going to be this time next year?
Well,
I'm trying to get what you're trying to hide from me. That's all out of you. That's all.
I'm actually sat here thinking to myself, I can let him know a little bit, let some things go, and not keep everything back. Before I do, Sharon, I'm going to be messaging you afterwards because we've got a date for the first meeting.
Right.
But yeah, Children Matter is taking a complete new approach to the way we're going to go about things. I've been putting a plan together on my idea on how I see things going and how I think we can get to where we're going to get to. I'm actually doing a meeting, which I'm going to be speaking to Sharon about in a bit, next Thursday, hopefully, if that's all right. Sharon, with you as well?
Okay.
Where I'll basically be presenting the idea to everybody, and anyone who's interested in being a part of it and getting it, to where it needs to be, will be then welcome to join us on the next one. But it's big things. It's big things that we've got planned. It's going to be a lot of work because I've got a lot of ideas that are kind of going to be running alongside each other that are going to kind of work in with each other. But my end goal is for it to be something that can help all of us and put us all in a better position than what we have been doing, where we can all get some use out of it and also help as many people as we can do from hopefully as many different areas as possible. So I reckon it's doable. It just needs the right team. So
well, my little project has been on a more of a personal level, Phil. It's I decided, I keep complaining about the state of the education system, and I have done. That's been my biggest bugbear, really, because I've worked in the education system and I saw the decline, and I'm not surprised at, even my own daughter said, it seems that anybody born after 2000 is not, they've been damaged, like the way they're thinking, but so there's been a bigger and wider gap in what we're teaching our children about life, basically, and how to deal with life and how to deal with emotions and how to deal with just general stuff of part of being human. So I decided to take the 30 years experience that I've got and all this I had a loft full of resources that I'd gathered over the years. Oh, I'll photocopy that, or I'll write some notes on that, and they'll come in useful sometime. And it was a lot of stuff I used in my parenting role. But I've been putting together a parenting course. It's going to be an 8-week course, and it covers a lot of stuff to do with like building your self-esteem up and things, but it's based around parenting advice and how to understand your child so that you can deal with and manage behavior, so that it's just a big gap in the parenting, the family breakdown. We've got to repair the damage done to families, and I want to teach parents how to manage the big emotions that nobody's teaching anymore. There's a bit of meditation in there as well. But yeah, I'm really pleased with what I've got so far. So that's what I've been doing, and what I plan to do is offer it for free. I'm going to try and get a free venue and put the word out, because obviously my daughter's got the young children, so she's got contacts, and my other daughter, she's got a job at the bridge where I'm going to be volunteering anyway. So there's a way in for access to some parents just to get me off the ground, but I'm going to offer it for free because I can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, good on you.
Hopefully as well, we'll be able to incorporate it as well with what we've got planned as well. We're hoping to incorporate so much of everyone's talents and so much of everyone's passion and causes and everything into what we've got planned. It's just been looking at going about things in a bit of a different way to what everyone's used to. I was speaking to Phil the other day, and we're probably going to be looking at doing a live over on Children Matter at some point, along with running the first raffle to the fundraiser to the plans and everything. But we will go over that as well when I go on with Red Pill Phil as well, because I've still got to be.
I've still got to have that interview, a proper interview with Red Pill Phil.
Yes, you do.
Because the last one wasn't very good because he couldn't hear me. But I'd like to interview him as well, to be honest with you, because he seems a great lad. Like, you know,
He is, he's amazing.
It was just a shame on the day. The sound quality was quite rubbish, but he was looking round for me for about an hour, mind, wasn't he?
Oh, Phil, if you'd like to join us, by the way, in the meeting next week, Phil, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, not a problem. I join in. I might be able to help in some sort of way, like I mean. So yeah,
well,
definitely.
the initial ones to hear out the plan and then go away and think about it, you know, and because obviously if you're in, you're in. You know, I'm serious and passionate about this because I see it, you know, taking us forward massively. Not just Children Matter, but all the other causes that, you know, we could potentially be helping as well. So
yeah, definitely. Because next week's show, I'm going to be bringing on John Lawrence. I'd like to bring on Jordan, because obviously, do you know if Jordan's standing in the council elections?
Yeah, he is doing, as far as I'm aware.
And I've possibly got already got a councillor who's going to be rerunning in the election, but he's had 4 years of absolute hatred from how can I put it, the lefties. So I'm hoping to be able to bring him on as well, because he'll be re-standing again, and hopefully he can get back in, because the lefties, all they've done for 4 years, attacked him and attacked him and attacked him. That's all they've done. But I haven't spoken to him yet, and if he's watching, and he's going to get a message off me by next Monday. Yeah. What's his name? Somebody called Law as well is standing as well this time, isn't he?
Don't know.
From down in Dover, is it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, the one that does all the illegal immigrants and the filming and that. I think he's actually standing as well.
So I've been away from everything because of going through the system again. I've had to stay away from everything, so to avoid temptation, I've not been able to keep an eye on everything. I'm
due to have thought of standing in the community as a councillor.
I've thought about it a few times. I think me and Sharon have actually had a conversation about it a few times as well, haven't we?
Because that seems to be the best place where you can actually make a change, is in your local areas and your local councils.
Well, there is.
Well, you would think so, but to be fair,
you get your hands tied with a lot of it. Yeah, you get your hands tied with a lot of it as well. There's certain things you can't do, because as soon as you do it, that's it, you're blacklisted from standing again. Like, I mean, I don't know if Sharon thinks the same thing, but I mean, I think the plan that we've got going at the minute might give us a better shot at, you know, actually helping the people on the ground.
I just can't deal with people like that you find in those places anymore. I mean, I had 15 years of working with that sort of people, and I have no tolerance for it anymore, to be honest, because I just think it's like no common sense, brain dead, childish. Like, you go into that environment, like you say, giving the guy a hard time for 4 years, just talk, you know what I mean? It's like, who wants to spend their life in that environment, really? I think we need to work on the ground like we have been, and we do make an impact on the people on the ground, really. You might not see it publicly, but I think a lot of people would say how much of a benefit they've had from working on people, all the people that's been out there kind of supporting and being vocal, really.
Yeah, the guy I'm talking about, he's had interviews with police. They've tried to set him up. They've tried to do this. They've tried to do that. It's just been absolutely terrible what he's actually had to go through because of his beliefs. Because I think he was standing up for Penally, going against the Penally narrative. Where all the legals were staying there. And they shouldn't have been, basically. But it was lots of other different things. He was attacked on and stuff like that. There are a lot of sick people out there, like No Hope Not Hate. They attacked him. I think they did as well as Stand Up to Racism. And
they're funded by the council. I mean, Keith even proved that they're funded by the council. They took them off the payroll, and all they could say was when they were asked about what the funding was for, they said it was for information. So what information did they gather then? Stand Up to Racism. What information did you buy off Stand Up to Racism? That's still left up in the air. Do you know what I mean? If you look on the government website about far-right groups, there were no far-right groups named around that area. So what was Stand Up to Racism being paid off the council for? Do you know what I mean? It's all of these dodgy dealings that's going on behind the scenes. It's,
Well, this councillor was attacked by Antifa as well online, face to face. It was absolutely diabolical what he went through for the last 4 years. For his local area, I don't know. I think there was a message I just had. He came third in elections 2 weeks-ish ago. I'm not aware that we've had council elections around here. Not in my area.
They've had a council election up in Sunderland recently because obviously Keith is resigned. But I think it's all fixed anyway. I just think that it's all corrupt. It really is. I mean, they've started back on the Brexit thing now, haven't they? Or filtering through, or missing out on this deal, missing out on that deal because of Brexit. They're starting that one again. It just goes round and around.
But that's what I heard. I heard it the other day. I saw a post that went up from a newspaper where Boris is thinking of backing out with the Brexit deal and joining back with the EU without our consent. I know we didn't get Brexit anyway.
It was never going to be allowed because it was never part of Agenda 21. I mean, I know it's changed to Agenda 30 or Sustainable Development, but at the end of the day, it was written in there for a reason, and being separate from them doesn't fall into what their agenda dictates. So they were never going to they just play this big game.
Yeah.
They have no care or concern for any of us. And the more people that listen to them, the more people that have done as they were told in our society, it has just pushed me further out to I'm no longer in 3D living. I'm out in 5D, floating on the cloud, doing what I can do as direct action for my community, which is to get this program ready and deliver it. And that's been my focus. And I think we've all got skills and talents that we can share with our local communities and families and spread it that way. from bottom up rather than them coming at us top down.
But what they're actually doing now is they're trying to use the war as an excuse for us to go back in. We knew it was going to come somewhere along the way, like, you know. But as far as I'm concerned, we should have left without a deal, and we should have made the lefties wait 47 years before we got a revote. Doing like that we had to.
Well, do you know what? Do you know when they were talking, all the veterans were fighting against the unification of the military, because that's part of the agenda as well.
Yeah.
Boris had to go to Belgium, I believe, didn't he? Well, where's it supposed to be based now? Our military doesn't even belong to us, does it? They have the unification of the military. They've been doing what they wanted to do behind the scenes with all of these smoke and mirrors, all these little distractions. I mean, even Will Smith at the thing, it's all over headlines. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't even got an opinion on it because I really don't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? There's so many people now they've made the choices, haven't they? If I spoke at UKIP, you know what I was going to say? I was going to ask if there was any purebloods in the audience, and I was going to say, well done for standing the line, for holding your ground and doing your research instead of becoming part of it, you lab rats. What were you thinking? What do you think the government suddenly cares about you? What was all that about? They made shitloads of money off the back of you.
Yeah, they definitely did, Sharon. They certainly did.
They separated the wheat from the chaff, all right. But you know what? Whoever's left, we're going to have to sort out. We're going to have to help them people. So we're going to have to get on with it.
To be honest with you, we've been robbed on so many different fronts, like, you know, because we're paying for these people who've had certain things done to them, testing masks and everything. We're the ones who are going to have to pay it back with taxes and stuff like that. Our children are going to pay back for decades and decades to come, and it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, but they're pushing the digital currency now, aren't they? They'll get rid of, because that's what it's all about, really, is changing the economy, changing the currency into digital currency. So we all get our microchips. We all get our numbers implanted into us. We've not just got them on birth certificates. Well, let's get them in. Get straight into the forehead, why don't you?
Well, it's going in your hand.
Yeah,
actually starting in July. They're actually doing a trial in July.
I actually met somebody with a microchip in his hand, right? And I'm talking about 8 or 9 years ago now. And that was because he worked with in the IT, and he'd been convinced that was the safest way to use technology. You just have to put your hand in front of it, and there you go. You're on the system. And I was just like, oh,
it's mad.
Really? Because I knew all about all of this stuff way back then. And so it's all being played out. And you kind of go, there's moments through that time where you think, oh, we've got a bit of hope. Things are changing. We've got the Brexit vote. And then you see that, well, actually, no, they're not going to give you that. And time proves it all. Do you know these conspiracy theories that we are?
Yeah, that's what they call us. And at the end of the day, we're not really, because everything we've said, I believe we're fortune tellers.
Clairsentience. I've been called a few C words, but clairsentience my favourite. I don't like conspiracy theorists. There's a few of us I don't like as well, but
I always find it funny because, you know, back in the olden days when there were pirates and everyone thought the world was flat, anyone who thought it was round was a conspiracy theory. You know, it's only a theory until it's proven fucking right.
That was back.
Well, I don't believe anything that NASA says.
Yeah, I think
that's not a thing.
In the 20s. They were actually still teaching flat Earth in schools. Do you know what I mean? At the beginning of the last century, they were still teaching it in schools.
Yeah, but
I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther because water always finds its level.
Yeah. Well, I'm 50-50. I've been doing a little bit of research on it. I've been watching this 5-hour-long video on YouTube, Lost History of Earth. And I tell you what, it's 5 hours worth watching, I think. because it goes over the technology that we've actually lost, which involved free energy and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's an amazing video, but that's about flat Earth as well. I knew a little bit about it because of the Egyptian mythology and stuff like that with the pyramids. I knew that they weren't for pharaohs and stuff like that. Yes, they did bury pharaohs in them, but it was also a way of converting the sun into energy. And they actually had light, electric well before doing. What was his name? Bell. Doing.
Well, look at Tesla with his Tesla tower, direct energy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And didn't they stop that because it was free energy? It's the same with the buildings, with the arches and stuff. Most of the buildings around the world, they got arches or they got 4 circles, and they used to have like metal inside to. It was to generate
gold
the electricity.
caps.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same as mosques with the cross on the top because it was always in gold. It's the same as the Egyptians, the pyramids, the churches. I mean, it's all there for a reason. It's to catch the sun rays and then filter down, and then you'd have like something like a summer house, but that like used to be like to control the energy.
Well, look at what they did to Wilhelm Reich's work, his argon box. He created the argon box, and that was about the directing the energy really, and they destroyed all his work and put him in prison. They weren't even allowed to use the word; it was banned.
In 1972, the oil companies actually bought patent, and I've actually seen it. I've seen it in the video of it. 1972 of a water-powered car, and we're not talking about hydrogen. We're talking about water.
Yeah, air and water. You can run a car on air and water.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a something that you could easily attach to a diesel engine that would help it run on air and water. But it seems that everybody that discovers that gets mysteriously suicided.
Or the patent gets bought, one or the other.
Buried.
Yeah, definitely. But the films of the water car is still around. You can type it into even into Google. I'm surprised in Google I haven't taken it down. You type in water powered car and it would come up. It will come up like, and that water powered car could do I think it was 50, 60 miles to the gallon. You know,
yeah.
Of water. It's bonkers.
The comment there is, we are slaves, probably always been slaves, and just waking up. And Bob Marley spoke a lot of sense about the mental slavery, isn't it? It's like,
oh, it's mad.
The secrets that they keep from us about the powers that we hold within. You know, people are waking up to that, I think. But yeah, there's always going to be slaves. There's always been slaves in different quarters for whatever reason.
But it's right with the saying as well. You'll own nothing because you already don't own anything, and people are still under the impression they own their houses, their cars. But it's the biggest scam of all, the mortgage. That is the biggest scam of all. And I'm afraid people who are watching and thinking, oh, I've got a mortgage, he's talking rubbish. Go and have a look at your deeds. It'll say tenant on your deeds. And a tenant means you're just borrowing the property or your land. And it's simple as that. And it's not, and that's even on a leasehold. You are only the tenant. It's the same as your car. You don't own your car because it says keeper on it. The government actually changed the words owner over to keeper decades ago because they knew they were going to take away the car. You know, the car is on its way out. Petrol and diesel, they want them off the road. As simple as that.
I'll be driving my little diesel until she's coughing and spluttering up the road. She's served me well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. You can run a car off diesel off oil, fish chip oil, but you just have to. I don't know what sort of you'd have to do to it, but a diesel car will run off oil.
Yeah.
Just have to go to your local chip shops, won't you? Get all the excess oil they throw away. Like,
I'm just wondering how all of these people with electric cars can afford to charge them now with the prices going up.
Oh, but you can still get, the thing is with electric cars, right? It costs about £5,000 extra for a battery, but they only last like 5 years until your warranty runs out. And then you're stung. Then you're stung for about £6,000, £7,000 battery. But if you run out of electric on it, then you need a diesel power generator to charge it. That's if you're not near a power point. But then obviously you've got to think out how the electric is made and the energy come from? Do you mean oil, gas? Do you mean at the end of the day, it's another scam to make more money off you, isn't it? Same smart roads. We know what smart roads are all about.
That's to ban people. That's so they can catch them at, and ban them off the roads, because, like you say, part of the agenda is to get everybody out of the cars. You will only drive a self-driven, like they'll drive the car for you to take you to work and back, and that's it. No freedom outside of that. You don't get to drive your own car.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
Have you heard the latest mind? What the politicians are thinking of? Are actually banning cars on Sundays. They are actually thinking of banning cars on Sundays because of obviously the climate change.
That's another big con, isn't it? I mean,
this is the climate change that killed the dinosaurs. I mean, that's just a natural thing that happens.
Dinosaurs? There was no dinosaurs.
Oh, don't you start that. I like dinosaurs. I don't care if they're not true. I don't care if it's like the fucking Tooth Fairy. My dream shelter. Look, Santa was ruined for me. Tooth Fairy was ruined for me. Easter Bunny was ruined for me. Leave dinosaurs alone.
It's all been
climate change is bollocks. It's just another reason to tax you and to limit your freedom, to virtue signal, to be part of the communitarianism movement, where you have to think about your neighbour before yourself. Put your neighbour first. No, that's not how it works. Sorry. You can only give out what you have inside. And if you don't look after yourself, you're not looking after anybody else. I'm sorry, but don't be fooling yourself, you virtue signalers out there. You're talking bollocks. Do some research.
Climate change, my arse. What? It's going to get cold. It's going to get hot.
Climate change when frigging blue skies and sun's out, and then they come flying over with the freaking chemtrails, and then they spoil my day because it comes over all white, and then you get a mist, and then you get wet. And it's like, yeah, there's your climate change. And every country is involved in that because it's all over the world. So anybody that thinks any leader is better or worse than any other, it's all bollocks. They're all part of it. They're all spraying us with poison. So, look after yourself and your own community, your own family and your own friends, because then it'll spread the love.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be coming on a live today and bringing up flat Earth and then fucking dinosaurs and. Normally, when I'm on live, it turns into tarantulas and reptiles.
Well, it's not far off, is it? There's a few tarantulas out there, mind you. You wouldn't call them tarantulas, would you? Because they're just vermin. They're vermin now for these people.
Do you realise, right? We're climate change at the moment. We are actually, we've already gone through 5 ice ages, right? And we're actually only just coming to the halfway point to the warmest part of between each ice age. We're only, because the poles have still got ice on them. When those poles are gone in say 10, 15,000 years, then we'll be going back the other way back to the cold.
Can you answer me this, Phil? Right. If you put right, they go on about these it melting the ice caps and we'll all get flooded out, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you put a block of ice in a bowl of water and you measure the level of the water, when the ice melts, the water level will be the same.
Because it evaporates, doesn't it?
No, well, the volume doesn't change just because the ice cube turns from a solid to a liquid. It's
just water in a different form. So when it melts, it's not going to flood the bowl. It's just going to be at the same level. It's just going to be in a different form.
I would have thought some of it would evaporate it and some of it would take the space of the cube and then some of it would evaporate.
Yeah, well, the cube would push the water level up, but when the cube melts, the water level will stay the same because the water is just in a different form. It's the same amount of water in the bowl. It's just half of it's frozen. So when they say when the ice is going to melt, the water level will stay the same.
Yeah, but if you've got ice higher than the water to start off with, I would imagine some of it would evaporate into the air.
Well, yeah.
Heat.
So even less chance of it overflowing.
I think that's if you put it in a hot environment, then it'd evaporate. But if you just left it in your kitchen side, for example, the water level would stay the exact same because the volume of it, even though there's some ice above the water level, the weight of it and the volume of it, it'd be pushed the level up. But as soon as it evaporated, they'll still stay the same because it's still the same amount of water.
But
and then, also the point that Tommy makes about it being the ice caps are on rock, when the snow melts on the mountain, it runs down the mountain, but it runs into the rock as well. It runs into the ground. So it goes underground a lot of the time.
But if you believe in flat Earth, you would believe if you believe in flat Earth, then Sharon, then you would be turning around and saying there's more to it past the poles.
I believe that we're the water. There's an ice wall.
Yeah,
that's what I believe.
That's what flat earthers they believe, that there's a wall and there's something behind it.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't like to speculate on what's beyond the ice wall. I just believe that that just makes more sense to me. You've got the tides. I mean, if you tilt something right with water in it, you're going to create waves, aren't you? And what do we have? We have waves. And the tide comes in further at some points, sometimes of the month than others. So, you know, it's
but
sometimes
isn't that something to do with the moon and time of the year for high tide?
I believe so, because I know, because I live on the coast, really, and sometimes when it's really crashing over the rocks, it's a full moon quite often. So yeah, I do believe there's some links. It's all connected, you see, it's all connected. This week, apparently, it's going to be a bit agitated because of Mars and Saturn, something to do with Uranus as well, but yeah.
Yeah, Tommy just said all billionaires still buy beachfront properties for 45 mil. That's actually Bill Gates, and that's in Florida. I read that story. He just purchased a £45 million house. Where that line is meant to get flooded, part of Florida. He's actually just bought a 45 million mansion there. So if he actually believes in climate change, I don't think he would have spent 45 million pound on a beachfront property, would he? So yeah.
I am, however, going to have to jump off because I've only got a few minutes and I need to run to the shop.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, it's gone on an hour and 20 odd minutes, and we've talked about quite different subjects.
You go on a journey with us. Doesn't matter what day it is, go on a journey.
We like a bit of diversity, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, talking about different subjects is brilliant, like, because the knowledge that you've got, it just shows that you're intelligent. Simple as that, isn't it?
Bit more than a day's notice next time, and I'll make sure I'm more prepared.
It's all right, Kate. So yeah, thank you both for coming on. So will you be starting to do where can people catch you for your lives and that now? Do you do lives? Still do that?
At the minute, we're on pause at the minute with the lives, unless we do random ones, just because of this other plan going in the background. But if you come to that meeting on Thursday, then you'll find out a lot more in detail as well of what we're doing.
Is that on StreamYard?
It'll probably be over Zoom or Teams, depending on what I can get up and what I can get running the longest. I mean, I don't even know how big the list is at the minute.
Yeah, I'll join on. Depending on what day it is. If it's a Wednesday, I doubt it very much.
No, but we're planning at the minute for next Thursday.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Not a problem. Just thank you both for coming on, because you've been amazing yet again, Sharon. And thanks, Kate, for coming on. Just a shame Victoria didn't come on. In a way, I'm okay about it, because otherwise this show would have probably gone on for 2 hours. Because obviously she's
Yeah.
got. But have either of you met Victoria Leonard?
No, I don't think so.
You've never seen her live?
I've
not been on.
Yeah, she got a group called Family Superheroes, and they're like advocates that go into courts and stuff like that. And she's a very intelligent lady. I did interview her in Cardiff a few weeks ago, and she's got like an ego. She's got two faces. She's got a normal one for when she does like Family Superheroes, and then she's got an ego one, which is called Lady V. But if you watch when she does Lady V, it's amazing. It's funny as hell, unbelievable. Yeah, but yeah, it's great having you two on. I wish if you want me to come on to your shows, it's not a problem. Or if you would like to come back on, you're most welcome to. Not a problem. But I've had a problem with Facebook tonight because they haven't let my live go out. They haven't. So it's been a little bit quiet, really, on the comments. But yeah, thank you very both for coming on. And yeah, I'll see you next Thursday
Well,
then.
hi to everybody that's been watching anyway, because I don't like to interrupt. We see messages coming up at the bottom, and it's like a little wave sometimes, but that's it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, okay. I'll let you both go.
All right, Phil. Thank you very much. It's been great.
And I'll speak
Nice
to
to
you
see
soon.
you again.
See you soon.
Bye. So, folks, yeah, those two girls are amazing. Yeah, I've had a lot of problems with Facebook tonight. I've seen it hasn't gone onto my profile. See what I mean about sharing, shadow banned, and everything else. I constantly. I'm glad I'm getting off Philip Watkins' account. Maybe I'll be back on it in 3 months' time once my Nimrod what account gets all the shadow banning coming in and stuff like that. So yeah, folks, two amazing girls. They both speak at protests and stuff like that. They organise protests. They're amazing. They've been a bit quiet for the last year, obviously, because Katie's got a court case going on and stuff like that is ongoing, so she can't say too much about it. And Sharon's kept busy as well, but like Sharon's doing now, she's actually working in a local community, helping others. So brilliant people, both excellent. And next week I should have a few potential councillors who are standing in elections to come on. It should be an interesting one. I personally think that a lot more people should actually be standing for councillor positions and stuff like that. Because if you want to make a difference in life, you've got to change the system. And I think the more people that do actually stand up, and you'll be able to change the system that way. More of us get it. I'd love to be elected, but I'm just totally too busy. I wish I could, because I spread awarenesses of different injustices. I'm very tempted, but it's a commitment that is 7 days a week. And my commitments are for the children, for the veterans, lots of different injustices which go on. So and I'd still like to do that. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who've actually got the intelligence, because I know you all have, because obviously you've been standing up for COVID and stuff like that, and you haven't believed the narrative. You fight for children already. You go on to protests. I'm sure your local areas would, and I think it's still time that you can actually stand as a councillor. I do know somebody else is standing for a council as well, but she's going to keep that quiet for a bit until she's ready to announce it. I will try to give her a hand as far as her campaign is concerned. But that's what you should be doing, folks. You should, if you can't get in as an MP, make the direct difference. I mean, on legislation and all that. At least you can make a difference in your local area and your local communities, because you do need to get out there. Otherwise, change isn't going to happen, folks, because it's obvious nobody's going to stand up. Nobody's going to fight to take the government down, because it's not happened. How much more do we have to have for a revolution? I don't believe a revolution's ever going to come. So basically what we should be doing is we're going to have to fight the system within. Yeah, John, you're basically right, mate. It's taken a long time to work that one out, but that's all we can do. So I am going to end the show. I've been on here over an hour and a half now, folks. Like I said, the PCP Wales, they're an amazing group. Join them. Follow them on Facebook. They've got a page, I think. They've also got a web page as well. Follow the girls because they're amazing girls, folks. They're fighting our government, and they're actually fighting within, really, aren't they? They're getting the people on side now. So, but they're fighting for your children. They're fighting for your grandchildren, and they're fighting for future generations of this country. So we've got to support people like this. We've got to make a change. And it's not only just our country, Wales, if we do win. I mean, it's not just Wales. We're talking about 52 countries across the world has got this sex ed rolled out. It's all the basic same narrative. My personal opinion is to lower the age of consent down to 10 minimum, and probably legalize paedophilia. I mean, because the class in young adults are from 10 to 24, and if you have sex in that range or wherever, they think it's legally all right. That's what these sick people are thinking, like, do you know? And this is what they're trying to push in our schools, like transgender ages of 5. How can a 5-year-old decide on if they're a boy or a girl? You can't. A girl at 5 years of age might be a tomboy. Do you mean? And then she's going to have it pushed onto her that she's actually a boy. Or or the other way around, a boy will turn into a girl. But once they've made that change, it's too late. I mean, they've been pushed on them, and it's not right for our children. Children need to keep their innocence. We don't need this, folks. We need to fight for our kids. We need to fight for our grandkids, because this world is actually pretty sick to watch. And I'm pretty disgusted at some of the sex ed which is coming out in the schools, and that's the way it is, folks. So what I'm going to do now? I've ranted on for a little bit. I shouldn't really, but if you want to make any donations, go onto their page, because to me, a top lawyer they've actually got to take the Welsh Assembly to court, and it is going to cost them around about 100,000 quid. So raising £1,500, it's a chunk. It's a little chunk, but they've already raised quite a bit of money already. They paid a lot out to these lawyers and stuff already. PR agent. They're going to end up in the paper in the next couple of weeks, I think there is. I shouldn't be saying that, but I know a little bit what's going on. But yeah, folks, please support the likes of PCP Wales, Children's Matter. Do you mean other groups like Family Superheroes? They're all there fighting for your kids, and this is what we should be doing. And that's another thing that disappoints me. I can go on to a COVID march, I can go on to a Veterans March, and like last year I went on a COVID march. 2 million people, folks. One march was 1 million. You go to a children's demo, you're lucky if you got, do you mean, 100 people fighting for your kids, folks. You go to a PCP demo. I have seen 150 there, folks. Don't get me wrong. But if you're a parent, you should be out there. You should be out there fighting for kids. You should be looking into what your kids are getting taught. Not just believe it. These teachers aren't even qualified to teach sex ed, and especially to a 3-year-old. It's pretty sick, folks. Come on. We need to stand up for our kids and our grandchildren. That's what I said. Fight for all injustices. Yeah, so thank you to both my guests on tonight, folks. Been amazing, absolutely amazing, as ever. All my guests are. They're brilliant. Thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing, because I can't do it, basically, can I? Not the way Facebook is at the moment, but hopefully things will change, and I will get my my share off the sharing bans and stuff. Thanks to my admin as well. They've been amazing as well. They're always looking after me, and I can't wish any more, to be honest with you, folks, because I wouldn't be able to do it without them. Yeah, so I'm going to finish a show off with my normal Darren rap, Darren Purcell. Oh, I tell you what, I spent more than 24 hours, 30 hours with him on Saturday for the skateathon, 24-hour skateathon, obviously beforehand and afterwards as well. I tell you what, he wrote my theme tune at the beginning, but he does a lot of raps. He only started last July. He's really amazing. Amazing guy. I've got to say, non-stop skate. He was skating at 4:30 in the morning, folks. I mean, they were all doing shifts and stuff like that. But all I could do go past my tent. It wasn't going just a slow pace. He was whizzing past. That's what kept me awake, I think, all night. But yeah, so I'm gonna play you out with his theme tune, folks. Take care, and I'll see you next Wednesday. But it'll be on my Nimrod profile, okay? And none of this sharing ban and everything else. Good night all. God bless.
Okay, picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intercoastal, and we're in one of these bands.
So that's Mike Seidel in Wilmington, North Carolina, but as he races and fights to win Friday, check out the two guys who seem to walk right by him in the background there, no trouble at all. The video has been shared more than 1 million times on social media. Now it's the
Cruising, losing, looking for some news and losing it's amusing. Other people choosing the topics I can view and the subjects I can chew on, the facts that I can spew and the news they put their slew on. Twisty, turny, wriggly, wormy, squealy, squirmy news. Psychopathic journalists deceiving with their views. Tightening like a tourniquet, they're aiming to confuse. Nightly negative narratives narrating you the blues. Blues and twos, new taboos, the pasta's all sold out. The hurricane's incoming and the world is dying out. Asteroids, blasteroids, steroids in their tails. The windiest ever windy gales are blowing in the dales. The sea levels are rising at a super duper rate. 247 365, the caliphate's your fate. Tidal waves are waving like the death rays from the sun. Duck and cover, stand your ground, there's nowhere else to run.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy.
Writing, fighting, to publish stuff exciting. Losing it's amusing, other people choosing the posts that I can post and the documents I can read from, the info I can feed from, the facts the checkers get wrong. Sleazy, slimy, geeky, grimy, blackout, soulless tech, concluding with a clickety-click what's wrong and what's correct. Politically encouraged with protection from the law. They're getting pretty ruthless now, they panicking for sure. Scrubbing out the info like a scrubber in a tub, deleting the derogatory of the members in their club. Documents and studies disappear without a trace. Psychopathic moralists, they're doing it in your face. The info is erasing at a super duper rate. Breach community standards, your account will feel a fate. Post a funny meanings that you hate and are extreme. No chance of an appeal cause you're white and so supreme. Doctors, nurses, scientists and servants, real boys made from wood, covering for the perverts, defining definitions that will put you in a spin. Anything of interest gets filed in recycled bin. Algorithms algorithm the content that you post, collecting information, long-term storage with a host. Five Eyes keeping eyes on you, they're eyeing up your speech, using legal loopholes to conduct a data breach. Unqualified assessors banning stuff they do not like. Since early 2020 this has reached a massive spike. You're swimming in a dirty swamp, the swamp is full of pike. Post a touchy subject and receive a community strike. Unelected unofficials making up the rules. Billion-dollar corporations governing the schools. Satanic worship dictators who distribute the tools. Pervy public servants act like Hitler with the Jews.